All right. Thank you so much for joining me here today on the Red Pill Investor Podcast. My name's Carl Krenzel, your host here today, here to help you with your sales skills, here to help you generate more deals in less time and have a heck of a good time doing it. Thank you so much for joining me here today on the Red Pill Investor Podcast, episode number 539, if you can believe it. If you're also joining us here on YouTube at Sell More Homes Now, then I would highly recommend that you jump on over there, open up a brand new browser window and go over to TheRedPillInvestor.com, all one word, and you'll go ahead and find a podcast, well over 500 and so episodes, full of information for real estate investors, realtors, sales skills. If you're likewise joining me here on the Red Pill Investor, then I would encourage you to go over to Sell More Homes Now over there on YouTube, because you'll definitely want to check out the videos that we have over there for realtors, primarily realtor investors. So you definitely want to check that out. Now today, what we're going to talk about is lead generation for beginners. Right? Lead generation for beginners. Now, I recognize that many of the listeners to the podcast, as well as Sell More Homes Now and on the interwebs these days, are not beginners when it comes to generating real estate leads. But, I think it's important that we go back to the very beginnings of our real estate lead generation systems to ensure that we're getting the most efficiency out of them. And if you're new to real estate, well, it's just difficult to know where to find leads. I mean, let's just face it, I've done this 23 years now. And the problem is, it's not so much that you're a bad person or you don't know what to do or anything like that. No, the problem more often than not is that you don't know what to say, how to say it, and you don't really know how to get into these sales situations often enough so that you can learn how to get good at this, right? And so the purpose of this podcast is to help put you in sales situations more frequently. It's to help put you behind the scenes so you can listen to a real life sales situation to a homeowner and what they're trying to say to me and then what I say to them. And then that way you can learn through my mistakes and the things I say, things that'll help you in your business. Now, when you think about this issue of real estate lead generation, and especially if you're a beginner, it's difficult to know where to begin. Certainly you could begin with Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising, and those are all good platforms. Unfortunately, I don't know a whole lot about that in terms of how to generate a podcast, if you will, about how to do that. But I do know how to generate a podcast where you can listen in to me doing some calling, some telephone prospecting. Right now, when you think about it, telephone prospecting may not be the sexiest thing, but it certainly is something that you can do if you're new. It's certainly something you can do if you don't have a lot of money. And it's certainly something that you can do all times of the day. Now, I've got something here for you today. I got 6 different conversations that I recently had while prospecting. And in each of these prospects, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the conversation, some of the key points I want you to take away from this, and then I'd like you to listen to the conversation for what I was pointing out, and then maybe any other situations that you point out that you think I could have done better. The idea here is simply this, that you need to listen to these 6 conversations. We're going to go over them. We're going to analyze them. We're going to critique them. And then hopefully at the end of all this, you'll have a solid understanding of what you can say in a sales situation that'll help you get the deal. That's my hope for you today. Now, each of the prospects today come from the TheREDX GeoLeads system. Now, if you're not familiar with this, okay, if you've been following along in the podcast, you know that you can call expired listings, you can call for sale by owners, you can call for rent by owners, pre-foreclosures, things of that nature. You can do that. But what I've been doing today anyway, I'm not recommending it, I just what I've been doing today is doing some just sold type calls, right? Now, the just sold type calls is where you find a property that has just recently sold on the multiple listing service, and then on the GeoLeads system in TheREDX, then you can go ahead, type in the address, say you want to go ahead and get to, I don't know, the closest 50 to 100 to 200 or whatever number of properties you want. You can specify how long they've owned the property. In this particular circumstance, we're talking about 200 homes that have been owned for at least 5 years around a specific property that sold here in Tucson. Okay, so this allows me, by using the TheREDX auto dialer system, to call as many homeowners in that area as I can possibly find, right? And additionally, I can help leave a message on there, all of which I've pre-programmed in the phone. I've got multiple phone messages that I can drop, right? So the question then becomes, well, why GeoLeads? Why just listed types calls, just sold type calls? Why essentially like a cold type call? Why would you do this? Why is this something you'd want to do? Okay, first, when you call as an investor, trying to buy a property personally, you can help avoid a lot of the do not call law issues. Now, I'm not an attorney and I can't give you legal advice, but it's my understanding that the do not call list is meant to prevent people from soliciting people, trying to sell people things. Now, if you're an investor or you're a private person, citizen of the United States, then you have a constitutional right to go ahead and enter into contracts with people. That's your contracts clause of the Constitution there, right? And, if you're not trying to sell them something, you're not trying to sell them a newspaper subscription or a solar service on a solar panel or something like that, then there's really no reason that I can see why you can't call somebody personally and ask them if you can buy their home. Now, I might be wrong, but to me, it seems pretty straightforward. If you're just trying to buy a property, you can call somebody, right? Also, by calling them on a just sold type basis with an investor type approach, it gets to the root issue very, very quickly. If there's one thing I hate, and I suspect most people are like me, I hate having my time wasted. So if you were to call me up and try to waste my time, that's the thing that would infuriate me more than anything else. It's not the call that in so much that bugs me, because I clearly chose to press the button to pick it up, right? It's not like somebody had a gun to my hand and made me pick up the phone. But when you think about it, if you get to the point quickly, look, I'm calling about your property. Have you considered selling it? No. Okay. Well, there's obviously a method and a method to the madness, a script, if you will. But if you get to that point quickly, that's just going to be a lot faster for you. Also, sometimes expired listings aren't always there. Now, I know this may be hard for you to believe, but okay, I've been in the market a long time. And sometimes it seems as though there's just not a lot of expireds. The market can be very, very good. It can be rocketing right along. And, there's just virtually very few expireds that are selling, that are available, because everything's selling, right? If everything is selling, well, then you're not going to have a lot of expireds. If your business comes from expireds and there's not a lot of expireds to be had, well, then you're going to starve. Likewise, if your business comes from for sale by owners and the market is very, very good, okay, it's going to be difficult for you to convince a for sale by owner to list with you or sell to you at a price that's well within reason. If they've got, all these other things in their head as far as price, all these other people giving them money, competition. When you think about it, if they're ditching your call, let's say you're trying to call expired listings. You're a listing agent, and you know how this is. The first of the month, everybody comes out and starts calling them, right? Nobody calls anymore by the 15th, and then they pick it up again on the 30th. And the reality is that if they pick, they see your number a couple times and they're like, gosh, I don't want to talk to Carl anymore. And they put my phone number on mute. Well, then I can't reach them anymore. Right? So with a cold call, so to speak, just listed, just sold type call, it's less likely that they're going to recognize my number if it's a local number, and then they're more likely to pick it up. Yes, it's true. There are tons of people who will not pick up the phone. I get it. But that's not what I'm talking about. Sometimes ditching your call from an expired listing, you could sit there and spend days and hours and weeks on end trying to get a hold of people, and your phone number is just going straight to voicemail. If you find yourself wanting a lead, let's say, in a specific area, let's say you want to live or get an investment property down by the university someplace, wherever the university happens to be where you are, right? I mean, you could certainly mark out the boundary within the TheREDX GeoLeads system, download all the numbers of the properties that have been that have been owned in there for more than 5, 6, 7 years, and call those people. If you have a specific area that you're wanting to get to, this is another way that you could help your client. If you've got if you're not an investor, if you're just a realtor and you have no interest in investing in property, you're just wanting to get a listing, well, then you could certainly help out your client that way too. When you think about it, if they're trying to find something on the multiple listings service, well, gosh, by the time a deal hits the multiple listings service, it's been picked over 100 times. And if it's been picked over 100 times, well, how special is it for your client? How likely are they to get a good deal? Probably not too likely. So in this case, you can go ahead and also use that same geographic boundary, look in that specific area that they're wanting to buy in, and call all those neighbors in there and potentially get a listing and potentially get a double-sided deal. There's a lot of methods that you can use this GeoLeads system. And I got to tell you, I have been very impressed by that. So let's go ahead and listen in on some of these calls while I give you some commentary. Okay. Now, on the first call we're going to talk about, I'm going to call this fellow the market changing fellow, right? The market is changing fellow. Here's some of the lessons I think that you should learn from this call, right? First, sellers are watching the market. Okay. Now, if a seller's going to talk to you for a while, if a homeowner is going to talk to you for a while, listen. All right. That's my advice to you. If you're trying to come to this podcast and learn something because you're trying to get some basic lead generation information, well, then here's a tip for you, right? Listen to what they try to tell you. And the reason why is because you'll learn a lot about the market. Now, if you're a real estate agent, real estate broker, you should already make it your business to know the market. But let's assume you're new. Let's assume you don't have a lot of information about what's going on. Well, then when the public talks, then that gives you, a pulse, if you will, on the heartbeat of the community. So listen if they'll talk to you. You'll learn a lot about the market. Now, listen, you will, as the market changes, you'll hear a lot of negative talk, okay? Don't buy into that kind of talk. But when a seller's being honest about the way they feel and what they feel about the market, then start to listen to it, okay? Because it'll help you be aware of the times. So let's listen in on this first call. The market is changing, and then we'll get into the others. Stay tuned.
Hello?
Hi, this is Carl Krenzel. How are you doing?
I'm sorry, who's this?
My name is Carl Krenzel. I'm not sure if I have the right place. I apologize. I was looking for the business residence of that Capistrano Road. Have I got the right place?
No. Well, actually, those are my parents. How can I help you?
Oh gosh. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know how I got you there. I apologize. I was actually just calling to see, again, my name's Carl. I was just calling to see if maybe they even considered selling that home. Do you know if they'd ever considered selling that place? Would they be open to an offer on it?
No, I don't think they would. I mean, they've been there a long time. They're
Oh yeah,
older in age, and I don't think moving's anywhere in their in their bucket
Right.
list anytime soon. So
I hear
no,
you. Well, no worries.
they may be lifers, those two.
That's fine. All right. That's a good thing too, So, all right. Well, listen, since I got you here, do you know of anybody else here in town who's got an unwanted home that they just like to sell for cash?
No, and well, maybe you called a little too late, but I just sold my house last week, so.
Oh, is that a fact?
But yeah, it is.
Where was it here in town?
It was in Littletown, that new development right
yeah,
behind
where that
the yeah. Yeah, so it was right in there.
If you don't mind me asking, if you don't mind me asking, how much did you get for it?
$227.
Gosh, whew, good for you. Good for you, brother.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, and I've been in this market a really long time. I'm a broker here in town. Let me tell you, that's a smooth move right there. Taking all that money out right now. Did you buy another home, or did you just take that cash out and keep on to it, or what did you do with it?
No, we're saving it. We moved into our rental property. We're gonna wait it out. We figure the market's gonna dip at some point, and we're gonna purchase something in Vail.
That's my man. See, I wish there would be more people like you who would pay attention to the market. I promise you, dude, I have done this 23 years, right? And I have seen the market go up and down and up and down. And, and I talk to people by literally the thousands every year.
Yeah.
And when I talk to people like you who are like, hold up, I see the market kind of peaking like this. I'm going to sell what I got. I'm going to rent so I can remain flexible, and I'm going to, because the market's coming up, and I know I'm going to be able to snag some value. That's a good move, dude. Really.
No,
is.
yeah. I
hey,
mean,
by the way,
I considered selling the other house too, but I've got so much equity in it, and my monthly payment is ridiculous that I figured, you know what? Even if I sell it later, I'm still going to make a hell of a profit, and I don't have to rent anything. I have my own house. We have a $600 monthly payment, and why not? So.
Boom,
so we're just going to wait it out and buy when the time's right.
Good for you. Hey, listen, real quick, this is just a guess on my part, but do you happen to listen to Grant Cardone or Gary Vaynerchuk or anything like that on social media?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Oh, you don't? Okay, the only reason why I asked is because, that's what a lot of, Grant Cardone, he's a big-time real estate investment kind of guy. He preaches that strategy, and I happen to agree with it 100%. Sell that main residence and even buy a rental, like in an area down by the university or something like that that's always going to rent well, and then rent where you want to live, because that way if you and your wife or whatever, you get a job opportunity in, Tuscaloosa, Alabama or something, you want to go, then you don't have to worry about it. You just go and you got that rental property, so. Yeah, smooth move, dude. Good for you. I'm always encouraged to hear people and you sound like a relatively young dude too. So that's going to pay out for you long term. So good for you, brother. Good for you.
I think so. Yeah, I think it was the right move. The family's growing. We needed something bigger. Figure the market's high. Sell it. Get a good chunk of money out of it, and hold on to it, and buy the house we need for the long run.
Good for you. Good for you, brother. Well, listen. You stay humble. All right. Pay attention to the Lord, and have a wonderful day. Okay?
You as well, Carl. Take care. Nice talking to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. So that was the first call. Not too crazy, not too exciting, but it was important for you to listen because I wanted you to hear when you're talking to people how important it is to listen to how they feel the market's performing, because that's going to give you a clear idea. If they feel that way, chances are they're talking to their friends like that. Helps you stay in tune with the market. So let's just go ahead and jump into the second call. Now, as we speed up, I've saved more and more the better ones as we go. So don't leave. You'll definitely want to stay tuned for this, right? This one is where we're thinking about selling, and he's trying to decide between two different locations. Now, remember, this is a cold call, so to speak. Well, it's not really a cold call. I mean, when you think about a cold call, I think like cold call. I think of a cold call as something where you have absolutely no reason to call them whatsoever. There's been no homes selling in the area. There's nothing that's listing. I mean, you're just calling somebody like out of the phone book, right? To me, that's a cold call. In this case, these are kind of like slightly cold calls. They're just above cold call, right? Because when you think about it, in this particular circumstance, there has been a property that is sold nearby. Now, remember the psychology of people, okay? They're getting up every single day. They get in their car, they drive down the road, they go to work, and they see, what's this? A sign in the yard? Holy cow, the Smiths have their home on the market. Later on that night, Mr. Seller comes home, and he's talking to his wife, and he says, gosh, did you see the Smiths have their home on the market? And she says, yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, and I pulled out a flyer, or I called the agent, or I looked online, or whatever it is, and I found out that it's, they're asking, XYZ for the property. And they don't even have the 2x4 construction or the 9-inch nails like we have. Well, gosh, if they could get that for that, well, then we could get this for that. And that's when people start thinking about selling. If you're trying to get good at lead generation, you have to understand the cycle that these people are in, especially on a cold call type situation, a just listed, just sold type call, right? These people are thinking about it. It's not like they're right on the tip of the spear, going to do something tomorrow all the time. Many of these people, you're going to find them 2, 3, 4, 5 months in the process. Now, that doesn't mean you won't find people who are ready to do something now, as in the case of our next call. In this particular circumstance, they're trying to find a property now. However, they're having a little trouble deciding, right? They're trying to decide between two local areas here close to Tucson. One of them is Green Valley, which is a retirement community south of Tucson, about 60 miles. Then there's also Star Pass, which is on the western edge of town, probably about 15, 20 miles from center of Tucson. Both of these areas are very popular with older people. Both of these areas are very nice. So I could certainly appreciate if you're an older person trying to sell a property, trying to decide between two places, how difficult that could be. So what I want you to pay attention to in this particular call is, first of all, be aware of the personality type of the person you're dealing with. Right? Mike Ferry coached me on this very, very well. Mike Ferry teaches, and you've probably heard this a couple different ways, but basically there's 4 different personality types. You've got the analytical, you've got the amiable, you've got the driver, and you got the expressive, right? The analytical person, that's the kind of person that needs facts, figures, names, numbers, dates, things like that. The expressive, well, that's the kind of person that, is just very, very flowery, very showy in their language, right? The amiable, well, that's the kind of person that just wants to be friends with everybody, wants everybody to be happy. And then, of course, you have, the driver. Meet, my friends, a driver. This gentleman here, nice fellow, but straight and to the point. This is that personality type, the driver type. And you'll want to be aware of that personality type and not to be afraid of it, because remember, chances are most people are a different personality type than you are. And you're going to need to be flexible and versatile enough to go ahead and work with people regardless of the personality type they have. Another key thing that I would point out, a critique, if you will, of my own style, I need to slow down a little bit. You'll hear in here, especially with older people, if you have like the iPhone, with the ear pods and whatnot, or, if you've got some sort of cordless type of Bluetooth connection, many times the connection between you saying something in your microphone and getting to the phone, going to them, and then getting to them, especially if they have a hearing aid or something like that, all that time and translation, even though it's in milliseconds, you can hear it many times, and it can disrupt a conversation. So when you're with an older person, take it from me, learn from my lesson, slow down a little bit. Get really clear on what it is they're trying to look for. And more importantly, you'll notice one of the most important questions I ask here is, how long have you been looking? How long have you been looking? That's probably the most important question you can ask. Whenever you're talking with somebody who says that they're looking for a property, they've been looking for a while, well, say, well, gosh, how long have you been looking? If they say, well, we've been looking for a year, a year and a half, 2 years, 6 months, something like that, well, chances are, they're not going to find anything they like. And you could feel pretty safe knowing that you could probably get rid of that lead and not worry about it, right? But if on the other hand, they say, well, they just got started, or they have a specific timeline, or something like that, well, then you'll definitely want to pay attention to what that timeline is and see what you can do to help them. Now, remember, people in this particular circumstance are not like a for sale by owner. They are not like an expired. They are not like a come list me or come buy me type call. These people are early in the sales process, so you do not want to sit there and manhandle them, right? You want to make sure you handle them with kid gloves. Treat them with respect and see what you can do to help them and make sure you're clear on what the next step is. Listen into this next call and tell me what you think.
Hello.
Hi, this is Carl Krenzel. How are you today?
Good.
I'm not sure if I have the right person. I apologize. I was looking for the Stowe residence on Salome Circle. Have I got the right person?
Yeah, you got the right one.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Again, my name's Carl Krenzel. I was actually just calling to see if you folks had ever considered selling that home. Have you?
Yeah, we have considered it.
Okay. Well, no problem. Well, the only reason why I'm asking is, again, my name's Carl Krenzel. I'm a broker here in town. There was 2 reasons. First, I buy property in that area, and what caused me to call pretty much everybody in the neighborhood was there was a property that you may have even seen it yourself at 2642 Solano Circle that, it literally just came on the market probably, 2 weeks ago or whatever. It sold in 3 days. But it was a fix-up property. Needed quite a bit of work. They were asking 117 for that place. They actually got 107.
I'm
So
surprised.
I was just calling around the neighborhood to see. Obviously that place is not the same as yours. It's much, much smaller and it needed an awful lot of work. But, the thing is that when a property sells that quick, usually there's 2 or 3 people crying in their beer because they missed out. So I always like to call around and see who's interested.
It was bought from an outfit over on Broadway.
Oh, was it? Yeah. I believe it. Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, that just goes to show you. And the market right now is extraordinarily powerful. So you mentioned that you're looking to sell here in the next couple months, or when were you planning to do it?
We might consider selling. I wouldn't commit.
No problem. When you do move, where are you going to go next? Are you staying here in town? Are you taking off, or what?
We're going to downsize. 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
Oh, no kidding. Okay. Have you already been out looking around at some of the good deals right now? Some of the short sales? Or
I haven't seen anything that impressed me.
I understand that. No problem. And I'm wondering, have you folks had somebody kind of come out and take a quick look at your place, give you an idea what the open market might bear for a home like yours?
We've had a few people look.
Well, ideally, when do you think you'd like to close? After you find something?
Not in a big hurry after we find something.
Gotcha. Okay. No worries. And about how long have you folks been looking for a property?
Oh, about 3 months.
Okay. So you relatively recently then you guys have just started kind of looking at properties, and have you seen any areas in particular that you like?
Well, either Green Valley or up around Star Pass.
Tough choice. I can certainly, I won't envy your choice there. That's a tough choice to make. Yeah. Especially Star Pass with that new, what is it? It's not Lowe's, but what is it? JW, I guess. JW Marriott, right?
Yes,
that's just a beautiful hotel out there. It's spectacular. And I don't play really a whole lot of golf myself, but I hear the course is amazing. So
yes.
Yeah. All right. So then you haven't.
Let me finish. Up in that area by Star Pass, down someplace up in that area.
Okay. Well, When would be a good time for me to come out and take a look at your property? Have you got some time this week?
Give us a couple of weeks. Give me a call back.
Okay. When you say a couple of weeks, are we talking literally 2 weeks? Are we talking like 1.5? What are we talking?
2 weeks.
Got it. All right. And when I call you back, should I ask for Mr. Stoke?
Yes, that'll work.
Oh, good deal. All right. Well, I just want to make sure I had the right name. Well, listen, Mr. Stoke, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today, and I hope you stay out of the heat, all right?
Okay. Have a great afternoon.
Yes, sir. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Whew, man. I don't know about you, but that was a little intense. But it's still good. It's still good because remember, that's just a personality type. That's not the way people are. And many times you'll remember that people are one way on the phone, and then when you get face to face to them, well, they're a whole different way. Because remember, you're always way more powerful than you're going to be face to face than you will ever be over the phone. Right? I mean, once they get a good look at you, see your smiling face, see how positive and uplifting you are, you got this in the bag. Don't even worry. All right, so let's jump into the third call. The third call, this one I love. This girl's my favorite. She says, call my husband. That's my favorite lady. Calls my husband. Call my husband, right? Now listen, this is where you want to get really, really critically clear on the psychology of sellers in a just listed, just sold, cold call type of environment, right? Because again, many times people, especially if you're using the TheREDX system with their hyper accurate numbers, people are going to be super scary, crazy that you found their number and how did you find it and all that, right? So that's something you're going to have to get used to, and you got to learn how to handle it, right? So in this particular call, I want you to listen to how this comes up and how I handle it in such a way that she feels comfortable with this, giving me the husband's number, which I already had, and describing a little bit about the situation to me. So watch how we cover this, right? Basically, the methodology, if you will, behind this is understanding that once a property sells, as I mentioned earlier, the neighborhood starts talking. People start seeing this. They see, and if you're a realtor, the best advice I could give you, the best advertisement you could use is a sold sign on your listings, right? Because that gets the neighborhood talking. Trust me, when you make these kind of calls, the agents are not calling them. The agents are not knocking on the doors. The agents aren't going around letting the people know about what's going on. And that's why this is starting to heat up. Now, listen, you don't want to leave right away. I know this podcast has been going on for a while, but it's only getting hotter, right? We've got 3 more calls to go, and this one is a good one. Now, I always like to say it's when they say, well, gosh, my home is better and I'm going to be selling it. And how did you know? I always like to say, it's sort of a scientific hunch. A scientific hunch. So listen in on this one as they're amazed that I know that they're planning on selling the home. How did you know? Listen in and enjoy the show.
This is Michelle. How can I help you?
Hi, Michelle. Carl Krenzel. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm afraid I might have the wrong number, so I apologize in advance. Are you the lady who owns a property at 2632 West Toronto?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Again, my name's Carl. I'll be very brief. I'm a broker here in town who buys property. I was calling to see if you'd ever considered selling that home. Have you?
Yes. But actually, you would be needing to speak to my husband. His number is 520-991-2133. How did you, how do you know about our home?
I don't. Yeah, no problem. I don't. This is just a 23 years worth of experience talking. Basically, the reason for my call is there was a property, as you probably already know, a couple doors down from you at 2642. West Solano Circle. And that property, as you know, is much smaller than yours, needed a lot of work. They sold it in 3 days for $107,500. And there's tons of people trying to live in that area, but they're crying in their beer because they missed out on a property. So I know that if I call around that area, usually, one or two of the neighbors in there have been thinking about it. And so that's why I'm playing the odds and calling you. So,
yeah,
all right, you should talk to your husband about that, you say?
Yeah, our home is 2,700 square feet. It has a guest house.
Yes, ma'am. I know it's much bigger. Yes, ma'am, and it's probably in much better condition.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no,
it's sell somewhere around 350, between 3 and 350.
Okay, yeah, I totally believe that. No, it's just the odds are that whenever a property comes on the market, usually I know that 2 or 3 more in that market usually sell within the next 3-4 months. People see the sign go up, go down. They're like, oh my gosh, that property, they got that for that. Well, my home is, almost 2,700 square feet and it's way better, so those conversations start talking in the kitchen tables. And I think, gosh, let me call you up because you're probably talking about it. You saw it just as well as I did. So I figure I'll call you up and, see if maybe you guys are interested. All right. So, and I'm sorry, what was your husband's name? Mr. Morales, is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, no problem. Should I just call him Mr. I don't want to freak him out or anything. Is that going to work?
You could call him Ed.
Ed? Okay. All right. Well, and this is, I take it, is that correct?
No, but just talk to Ed.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I appreciate your time, and you have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. So that was crazy. If you thought that was crazy, it's going to get even crazier. We got 3 more to go. But before we do, let me jump into a quick thing I'd like to share with you about the Red Pill Investor Sales System. If you're brand new to this sales system, you're brand new to the podcast, maybe you've never heard of it before, you might be asking yourself, well, where did this whole Red Pill podcast thing come from? I mean, what's this all about? Basically, I'm going to read to you just really a couple paragraphs from the first chapter of the Red Pill Sales System, which is the first book I wrote about this idea. And you can purchase it today. It's simply $10. It's an ebook full of full of links that'll help you get across the podcast and give you a ton of information about prospecting and lead generation, all the things you need to do to build a predictable, duplicatable business. So let me just read a quick paragraph to you. For realtors who invest, as well as wholesaling investors, there currently is no training available on the market today to instruct you as to the actual dialogues, the phrases, and sales skills necessary to effectively wholesale real estate repeatedly or predictably. Enter the Red Pill Sales System. Modeled after time-tested scripts and actual field use, this system provides the practitioner with the flexibility to control the various conversations in the sales process, as well as provide the customer with an unparalleled level of customer service while providing you the security of a proven, safe, and realtorable system. The basic foundation upon which the Red Pill Sales System, the cornerstone of the entire system, is based on one premise. You are not an investor, nor a wholesaler, nor a realtor. You are a buyer. After all, what is a buyer? A buyer is nothing more than a consumer in the marketplace. The closer you can come to understanding your buyerhood, the more you realize the less you have to put up with. After all, what makes a buyer? Money, ready for the transaction at the time of closing. Be ready, willing, and able. Acting honestly with the seller. Reserving your rights as a buyer to lease, rent, assign, repair, or sell the property for a profit. So why is this important? Why do you want to look at it from this unique perspective as opposed to the myriad of blue pill trainers who are quick to show you how to make a mailer, but not what to say once you get in? Well, it's simple. When you accept the fact that you are a buyer, then all the problems that labeling yourself as an investor or a realtor and all those problems go away. This is from the first chapter of my book, The Red Pill Sales System. You can buy this, as I mentioned, for $10. It's available in ebook format. I'll be happy to share that with you and send that to you. Let's step back into the rest of the podcast. For our next call, may I introduce you to whom I like to call Multiple Property Nate. Nate's a good guy. I like Nate an awful lot. And Nate has an awful lot of properties. But Nate also has a terrible phone. I could not hear a thing he was saying until he finally got it cleared up a little bit. So if you can endure the first minute or so of him trying to struggle through the conversation, it will be well worth your time. Here's what I think I learned from this call, and maybe something you could learn. It's the value of versatility. You know, I mentioned it before. When you're talking to people, understand there are going to be different personality types and different situations, right? Mike Ferry taught me that that versatility is really the ability to be adaptable to a variety of people in a variety of situations in a variety of ways, right? If versatility is the ability to be versatile, to adapt, if you will, to a variety of people, all kinds of different people, in a variety of situations, all kinds of different situations and places where the dog's biting you or the house smells or whatever, right? In a multitude of ways. You know, you don't have just one way you can solve a problem, right? Being versatile will help. In this particular circumstance, I needed to be very versatile when I was listening to Nate because it was hard for me to hear him in the beginning. And if I had just let this go, I might have missed out on the opportunity to get other properties. Always be on the lookout. Always. On every call. I know this is something I probably beat to death too much and I stress over too much. But I promise you, if you adopt this habit, it will pay off in spades. Right? Always be on the lookout for more than one property, right? Now, if you're a realtor, you're going to hear Nate talk about something that you probably have heard before, right? I got a property and I'm going to sell it myself, or I got a property and I got a powerful realtor, blah, 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 right? I mean, you've heard these things. And they say no realtor, you say no problem. That's the answer for everything. No problem. I don't want to pay a commission. No problem. I don't want to work with realtors. No problem. I don't want to list my home. No problem. Whatever the problem is, your answer is no problem. Why? Because it's an easy way to solve a problem without getting everybody's feelings involved. Especially if you're a realtor who buys. Because you'll quickly see here, I'll tell him, what's that? No realtor? You don't want to list? No problem. I buy too. And that is all we need to find out all we need to know about multiple property Nate.
Good afternoon, Nate. Hey, Nate. Carl Krenzel. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Who is this?
Yeah, no problem. My name is Carl Krenzel. You don't know me, and I was actually just calling about a property that you might be the owner of over there on Hill. Is that still your property, sir, that 6221 place?
2221. Yeah, so,
Yes, sir. 6221 Hildreth. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's my property.
No problem. No problem. I was just calling to see if you'd ever considered selling it. Have you?
I am selling. I am going to sell it. Yes, but you're an investor, right? See, I do my own property repair, and then I sell it myself. I don't really have property to sell it, not less than by the market price.
Great, no problem. I think I understand, but you're kind of cutting in and out. I think what I heard you say is that you sell them as an investor, that you're not looking to list them. Is that what I heard you say?
Right.
Okay, that's great. That's perfect. How much do you want for the property on Hilton?
Oh, how much I want for it? I haven't picked the property up yet. Shucks. I think the area going, we talked a little about it, but the area going around 150 something, 170 something. I know you're ready to pay that kind of money for the house. But you're an investor, right?
Yeah, so again, my name is Carl Krenzel. I'm a real estate broker here in town who also invests in property. And the reason why I'm calling is because there was a property, I'm sure you probably know about it, that was for sale not far from your property on Hilton. It was for sale on Solano Circle. That particular property was much smaller than yours, but it sold in 3 days. And so I was just calling around because I know that, you know, people in that area still want to sell. So you're considering selling the property on Hilton?
Yeah, I am considering selling, but I already got a realtor to deal with that.
Okay, so is it on the MLS or no?
No, I haven't. No, what? Okay, to make a long story short, that's the nice. I have houses that I'm selling. That's the house that my next to sell, and I have tenants living in it right now, but they don't know by the afternoon. I'm going to tell them they have to move, and then I have to go in and fix it up and get it sold. But I have tenants in it right now, but they'll be moving within a month or two, and less.
Okay. So, and again, you're kind of breaking up, but just to make sure I understand you correctly, you're saying...
Listen one second. Okay, now are you looking for property to
there we go.
Say again?
Yeah, much better. Yeah, much better. I can hear you much better now. Yeah, my name's Carl.
Oh, okay.
I'm a real estate broker. I'm a real estate broker here in town who invests in properties. I'm not looking for a listing or anything like that. I'm just looking to see if there's properties available in that area that I can buy for sale or buy. So if there's homes that are
I can sell you the property. Yeah. I can sell you the property in an as-is condition, or I can sell you the property when I finish fixing up. You know, whichever you're interested in, because I can sell it in the as-is or in condition.
Yeah, well, I'm sort of in the as-is kind of category. I prefer them. The worse, the better is what I like.
Oh.
But,
yeah, well, that's no fake news because I don't make no money that way. Huh? I don't make money that way.
That is true. That is one way to make money. Are you selling any of these? You got what, multiple properties that you're trying to sell as an investor?
No, I've invested like back in 1998. I bought a bunch of property back in 1998 to 2005 when the market was good. So now I'm getting. Well, they all rented out pretty much, and I have a couple of them getting ready to sell. But I don't know what to say. As far as condition, yeah, I know the worse the better for you, but I don't get to that stage. And so, I mean, for me, for sale, everything I got for sale, but I either sell it as a fixed up price, as I fix it up, or I sell it as an investor price, but I don't sell it on the lower end.
Well, let's talk about Hildreth for a moment. Does Hildreth currently have tenants in it?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But that's not much of an issue because they plan to move up whenever I tell them to move up.
That's what I was thinking. You said a minute ago. I thought you said something like they're going to be out in the next month or something like that. I think you said. Yeah. They're gonna.
They'll move when I tell them to move.
Okay. All right. No worries. Mm-hmm. And do you have any idea as to how much you'd take for Hildreth just the way it is?
Yeah, I just got to put a new roof on that thing, I said, unless I let it go for $140.
For how much?
$140 in the as-is condition.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't I come out and take a look at it? Let's see what we're working with. Have you got some time that I can take a look at it sometime this week?
Give me a call. Yeah, I can find time.
I mean, they don't have to. I mean, your tenants don't have to clean it up or anything like that. I mean, it's cool with me. It's just me kind of coming quickly through it just to take a look at the interior, and then I'll be out of their hair in like 5-10 minutes. I promise.
I'll have to ask them in the afternoon to come. They don't know they're gonna be moved but I will tell them. Let me give it down.
Is this? Yeah, no problem. Is this your cell phone?
Yeah, this is my cell phone. Call me back on the line tomorrow. Or if you look, what about in the area? What about in the area of what about the area of 12th and in the area of I got several properties. Two of my looking selling. in the area of
Well, what I was thinking is,
12 and
let me just,
yeah, go ahead.
what I was going to say is, I just sent you my card right there, my contact information, and why don't you talk with your people in Hildreth, and then find out what would be a good time. I'll meet you over there at Hildreth. We'll take a look at it, and then we can kind of figure out what else is going on as far as your other properties. We can talk about that as well. But at least we'll be able to meet face to face. But you've got my number right there, so you can go ahead and talk with them, and we can catch up. Does that sound like a plan?
Okay, let me talk with them, let me talk with them first.
Okay, no problem. And I'm sorry, my name was Carl. I never did catch your name.
Nate.
All right, Nate. All right, well, thank you so much for taking my call, and I will talk to you soon, okay?
All right, you too, man.
All right, Nate. Bye-bye.
All right, you too. Have a good day.
You know, sometimes I believe people just aren't happy unless they're unhappy. I'd like to introduce you to who I like to lovingly call Mrs. Friendly. Now, Mrs. Friendly, well, this conversation didn't quite start off optimally. I think that's probably the best way to put it, right? Because people, when they're in the conversation, many times on the phone, they always start out suspicious. They don't know who you, I mean, they're listening. If they're going to pick up the phone in the first place, remember, they're listening for your voice, and they're just, do I know you? They're trying to think if they know the number. A multitude of things are running through their head all at once. And so when they're picking up the phone from the default position, many times they're very suspicious. And when you're using the TheREDX Dialer, and coincidentally, if you're using the TheREDX Dialer, you definitely want to go ahead and use that link that's in the description down there. You can save $149 on your setup fee. That's a lot of money. I would highly recommend you use it. I don't get any of that money. I got that deal for you as a Red Pill Investor listener, and I hope that you would use it because it will help you. But in any event, people always start out a little bit suspicious. And when you're using the TheREDX, especially with a multi-line dialer, what ends up happening is the dialer dials 3 dials at a time. So if you're calling just listed, just solds, or whatever through a neighborhood, let's say there's several hundred homes you're trying to hit, and you're calling 3 lines at a time, well, it's more than likely that more than one of those people might get your phone number at once at the same time. I mean, 2 people might pick up at the same time. If you're dialing 3 lines at a time, there is a statistical probability that at least 2 of those people are going to pick up at the same time. And when that happens, well, the TheREDX does a couple things, right? It drops an automatic message if you'd like, or it'll hang up on them, but it'll put them in a queue so you can call them back, right? It'll be the next person that you can call up on. But whenever you're using it, right, many times this might happen, and a seller might be a little bit suspicious because now you're calling right back as soon as you finished with your other call, and now they already know it's you calling, and they're like, what's going on? But don't worry. This is an easy problem to fix. If you've ever had to hang up on somebody and you're calling them right back, this is a great solution for that problem. See, the other thing I want to point out, at least in this call, is the value of calling is it gives you advance notice of properties coming on the market. If you're a realtor, okay, if you're an investor and you're making this call, people like Mrs. Friendly may or may not have any value to you. I mean, their value may be too high. Her home, I think we might have something we could work with, simply because I don't think it's been updated, right? But regardless of the situation, it is an advantage to you as a realtor to know about other properties before they come on the market. Why? But if I have to explain it to you, then you're already in trouble. But let me explain to you why this would be advantageous to you. It's advantageous to you because if you have buyers who are looking in a specific area and you're having trouble finding something, and you keep getting beat, let's say in this particular example, we're talking about a home that's $165,000. That in Tucson is going to sell quick. Okay. I mean, if you got a property that's under $200,000 in Tucson, then it's going to sell quick. Now she's got an issue that she has to solve before she sells it. as an investor, as a realtor, calling through the neighborhood, doing these types of calls, you're going to learn about this, and it'll give you an opportunity for either you or your customer. Also, at the very end of the call, you'll want to look at the way she kind of warms up a little bit. See if you can identify her personality type. If you think she's analytical, if you think she's an amiable type personality, somebody who's friendly, somebody who's an expressive, somebody who likes to really talk a lot, or somebody who's more of a driver, somebody you just kind of get to the point with. Take a listen to Mrs. Friendly and tell me what you think.
Hello?
Hi, is this Carl Krenzel?
Yeah, this is Carl. Sorry about that. I was having trouble with my phone. I was calling about that property you had a rental that was online. Is that still available?
I'm going to be selling it, so it's not available as a renter.
Perfect. That's actually why I called. I'm a broker here in town. I wanted to see if you'd be interested in selling it to me personally.
Selling it to
That's
you?
why I called, because I noticed it was for rent, and I thought, well, gosh, let me call you up, see if perhaps you might be interested in just selling it. And, if it's not already rented, maybe you'd be interested in selling it.
What are you going to do with it?
Well, depends. If it needs a little bit of work, then I'll put some work into it, probably sell it. I'll be up front with you. I'm not going to live in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, my intent is to repair it, make it good for a new family, and put a new family in it. That's my intent.
Okay. Well, I have a trusted broker, real estate agent already that's helping me with this. And,
okay, perfect. That's fine. I'm okay with that. My point is, are you okay with selling it to me personally? Is it currently on the MLS?
Not yet.
Outstanding. And have you guys figured out how much you're going to ask for it?
Yes, we are going to list it at $165.
I'm sorry, did you say 165?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Now, if you don't mind me asking, who's the agent you're dealing with? Because I probably know them personally. I've been in the agent here in town for over 20 years. I might know them.
Her name is Rebecca. Well, she works in Milan.
Rebecca, what was the last name? Okay, I've seen the name, but I don't know her personally, so I'm sure she's a good agent. No worries. And just to make sure I'm confirming everything in my mind or in my head, is the property a 2-bedroom, 1-bath with 670 square feet?
That's right.
Okay, good deal. And you mentioned it was going to be listed for 165. Now, if you don't mind me asking, what, if anything, is wrong with the property as far as you know?
I've owned the property since 1979, and I have.
Holy cow! Wow, I bet you've seen all kinds of changes in the market, huh?
It's been repaired, maintained, has all kinds of new things on it. It's in great shape for a house of that age. There's really nothing of any substance. There's just a few little tweaks here and there that need to be taken care of.
Okay, so it's just sort of like the normal wear and tear of life.
Yeah, not even that, because between each of my renters, I spruce it up, and yeah, it doesn't even show wear and tear, really.
Okay.
Aesthetically.
No problem.
Aesthetically.
All right, well, that's okay. That's a good thing.
So what I suggest... go ahead.
No, please, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
I was going to suggest that you just get in touch with Rebecca.
Okay. And one more thing. Do you know offhand when you anticipate putting it on the market?
As soon in August as I can get it ready.
Okay, so and you said as soon as in August as you can get it ready. Is there somebody there? I guess is there something that would prevent it? Like if I wanted to buy it and close by the end of the month, right? Would there be any problem with that?
I have a tenant in there.
Okay. All right, cool. That makes it, I understand that. Okay, so they're going to be out at the end of July, and you're thinking, all right, cool, let's just go ahead and get them out, and then as soon as August, as soon as I can close in August, the better, right?
Right.
Got it. And if, let's say, and I don't know how this would work out just yet. I'm just kind of spitballing here, so please forgive me. But if hypothetically we were able to close this like August 1st, 2nd, something along those lines, to where you would hardly have to do anything, it seems like that would be the best possible solution. Is that fair to assume?
The sooner the better. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. All right. Good deal. Okay. Well, listen, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. And again, my name is Carl Krenzel. It's Karl and then Krenzel with a K. This is Miss Kalkagan. I'm so sorry for
just look at it and say it the way it's printed.
I apologize. Yeah. I'm so stupid. I apologize. All right. Well, listen, thank you so much for taking my call, and I will catch up with Rebecca. You have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Whew. I think you can see why I was saying I like to call her Mrs. Friendly. Okay. Well, we've been waiting for the coup de grace, and here we are. This is the sixth and final call I'd like to share with you. But don't leave after this call, because I have some extra information I'd like to share with you, some extra commentary, if you will, after this call. But on this sixth call, sometimes what you're looking for actually happens. Believe it or not, sometimes when you're calling through a neighborhood, a yes comes just like that. Now, you can tell my reluctance because I tend to stay away from manufactured homes and things like that. However, I never close an open door because it can lead somewhere else. So let's listen in to a fellow who says, yeah.
Hello.
Hi, this is Carl. How are you?
Who?
Oh, I'm sorry. I might have the wrong number. I apologize. My name is Carl Krenzel. I was looking for Ron. Have I got the right place?
It's him. Yeah.
Oh, hey. How you doing, Ron? Hey, do you still own that home over there on Bilby Road?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Well, the reason why I'm asking, again, my name's Carl Krenzel. I'm a real estate broker who buys property. I was calling to see if you'd ever considered selling that home. Have you?
Sure. Come buy it.
No problem. How much are you looking to get for it?
Whatever I owe. I think it's 103 or something like that.
Oh, I see. What's going on with it?
It was just trying to move out of town.
Okay. All right. Well, the reason why I'm asking is there was a property that I was looking to buy not too far from you, over there at 2642 Solano Circle, a couple blocks away. That particular property sold in 3 days. They got 107 for that particular property. They needed a little bit of work. What kind of condition is your property in?
It needs a little work, nothing major.
Huh. Okay. How many bedrooms and baths does it have?
Just 2 full baths, 3 bedroom. It has a, I don't know how many, what is 30 by 30 shop, full drywalled, insulated, cooled, electrical, everything in it,
And the house itself, is it manufactured? Is it a single family residence?
Manufactured home.
Okay.
They just sold a manufactured home. I can't remember the year of it, to be honest with you, right now. But it's not a really old one. I can tell you that much. I think it's in the 2000s. I just don't remember what. They just sold an older house down the road from me for 130. That was, I mean, I don't know what the inside was like, but from what there's a couple pictures I've seen from the inside, didn't look that great. I have drywall. They had paneling, and the outside, we have a lot more going on in our house on the outside. Whether it sold for 130, I don't know, but I know it was up at, they're asking 130 for it, and I know it's sold and gone.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't I do this? When would be a good time for me to come out and take a quick peek at the place?
Why don't you call me on either Saturday or Sunday morning, or the night before, or call me tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, right?
Okay.
Call me tomorrow and set me up a time on Saturday or Sunday morning, and I'll be around.
Okay, will do. All right, Ron, I'll put it down here to give you a jingle, and we will go ahead and set something up, okay?
All right, thanks.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Whew. Well, what do you know? Well, listen, guys, that was the end of today's calls that I wanted to share with you. But listen, it's really important that you understand just how critical it is that you listen to the conversation, understand the flow of what's going on, and understand what's being said. More importantly, it's important that you prospect every single day. Be consistent, right? Get out there, do it every single day, because you never know what's going to happen, where or when. Guys, until next time, I hope you have a powerful sales day. Bye-bye.